think maybe where it becomes blurry is when you are working on something where you can't see how it fits in with that final goal. So it is growth because you're doing something, and every time you do something, you are learning. It's getting more reps in. Whether it feels like I learned some new information today, or if it's just through the act of doing it, you become more efficient, or whatever it is. When you don't know what you're striving towards, it's very difficult for you to identify if it doesn't light you up. It's quite easy to identify that it's not for you.
So I suppose then that self-development that doesn't light you up could be quietly hostile.
Well, you're going to judge it all the time, and you're not going to think it's going to work. You're going to have more negative self-talk because you're going to be like, oh, why are you doing this? You can't see the end goal. Like, when you first started doing this, you had these plans, and this doesn't even fit into that. Like, why are you doing it now? Like, you should just quit. And it's at that moment, I think, where you have to make the decision on, should I listen to that voice, or is that voice fundamentally flawed? Is that the voice I actually need to let go of?
Yeah, it's going to be inviting a lot of internal questions to try and work out what's right and what's wrong for you. I suppose as well, you've got to ask whether you are looking for whether you're trying to behave to the external standard. What I mean by that is there's definitely ways that people expect people to react or to grow or to develop. And are we ignoring what our body is secretly trying to tell us? We talk a lot about the nervous system and regulation. Are we ignoring the tiredness, the anxiety, the hunger, the fatigue at the cost? Well, are we ignoring all the cost of our nervous system towards feeling like we're working towards something more? But is that our external standard we're trying to chase, or is that internal metric we're trying to work out? So whether the self-improvement is quietly hostile towards the self, and I suppose is entirely shaped and using a compass that is used by your internal monologues, you'd have to be very much aligned in what you want to achieve and understand how you want to get there, and not abandon yourself on the sense of that development. So I've got a few questions I am curious of. I wrote these down when we were planning. Can growth last or exist without self-criticism? And this is something I'd love to discuss because it's something I think is really curious. So can growth, personal development, exist without self-criticism?
I think the self-criticism is like the barriers to exit of that negative self-talk. So it's you criticize yourself for doing all the work. That's not working. I'm not seeing any progress. That is your body saying, we're about to let go of something here. Are we sure we want to let go of it? And maybe there's 3 weeks of that. It's the 3 different barriers that it's got to get through to finally leave your body, that self-criticism, that acknowledgement of the work. Maybe that's got to go just so you can acknowledge what the real problem is. As I say, you're always harsher on yourself than you would be on others. And because we're talking about personal development and self-development, I instantly position it as a very internal struggle. But maybe taking that self-criticism and talking to a friend about it at the point of that, then maybe they could help you through it and help.
So for me, when I was thinking about this, self-criticism feels like it might actually cause more issues, because self-criticism is more of a dialogue of, I always mess up, I'm a failure, I'm not good enough, you deserve this. It's a harsh, judgmental inner dialogue. And I don't believe that self-criticism has a correct place within healthy growth. When I thought about this, I was thinking about, well, what does? And I think it's self-evaluation, because it's trying to have an objective and compassionate, equal sides, objective and compassionate approach to behaviors, mistakes, noticing patterns, focused on the solutions. Because the I always mess up, I'm always a failure, that doesn't invite solutions. That doesn't invite problem solving. It doesn't invite learning. Whereas asking questions like, what triggered this response? What might work better next time?